Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Terrence here with fishnetproductions.com. Hope you guys are having a great day. Got a quick video for you on mixed bus compression, or what's known as two bus compression. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions going on about why to use this type of compression and how to use it. So I want to get into that and talk about those things today. So let's jump right in. Now, if you've seen any of my prior videos on compression, you know that I advocate two methods of compression use that you're going to use in 99.9% of the time that you're using compression. And one of those methods is called dynamic compression. And just briefly, what that is where you're just simply controlling the dynamic peaks, the dynamic ups and downs of a particular piece of audio. So here, what that looks like, this is the vocal form of this particular track. These little lines here, this is a peak. All of these are peaks. Now the vocal track, or the bulk of the vocal sound, is in the middle of these particular things right here, these blobs as they're called in Melodyne, but this is where the bulk of the vocal is. So you see all these peaks up and down here and up here all the way through the vocal track. Now essentially what you're trying to do is even this out. You want this vocal to be even, or any track that you're working on to be pretty even. You don't want to be going along and then all of a sudden the vocal just jumps out here and spikes and then goes back here and all of this. So this is what compression is going to help us take care of. Now, what does that look like on the mix bus? Now, the same thing here with pretty much any other track you have. You're going to always have those peaks. Same thing here on the guitar track. You have, let me stretch this out. You have somewhat louder and softer sounds here. You have, smaller peaks here. And the bulk of the sound again is in the center of these blobs here. So pretty much any track that you're dealing with, you're going to have that. Let's check the overheads. Same thing. You see peaks here, bulk of the sound here, peak here, peak here. So this is what we're controlling when we're using dynamic compression. Now, this also becomes more of a factor when you have multiple tracks like this playing all together and they're going into your mix bus. Now, what I have here is a mix down of all of these tracks here that's going to the mix bus, just a simple mix down, and you can take a look at what the peaks are. So same thing here with all of the audio, all of these particular tracks going to this mix bus here. You have peaks here. You see this peak right here, up here, peak, peak. And same thing, the bulk of your sound is in the center of this waveform here. So again, all you're doing with mixed bus compression and dynamic compression in general is you're trying to even out these peaks. You're trying to even out the sound to where, in most cases, where when you're doing this and you're sending it to mastering, the mastering engineer doesn't have such a difficult job to do to try to even out your sound and get it louder and all of that kind of stuff. So that's essentially what we're doing here. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Now, before we do that though, I want to show you, this is the compressed mixdown. What I've done here is in this mixdown right here, I've added about 4 dB of compression in all of these tracks individually. And this is what the compressed mixdown looks like. So I wanted to show you this because even when you have all of your compressors set to each individual track, when you send those tracks to a mix bus and you mix them down, what's going to your mix bus is you still have certain peaks here, because when certain audio forms merge together, you still have those sort of peaks going on in this thing. So again, either way it goes, you're still going to be applying mixed bus compression. So let's talk about how to deal with that. Okay, so what I have here is the SSL G-Bus compressor on the 2-bus here in this mix. Now I'm using this compressor on all of the other tracks too. Again, this is what I'm using to get that around 4 dB of compression on each individual track. But I have it here also on this track. So what we're going to do is simply just play the track, have a listen to it, and then dial some compression in. Now, just a tidbit of advice. On your 2-bus, you don't want to use a lot of compression. Most of the time, around 1 or 2, in some extreme cases, maybe 3 or 4 dB is more than enough. But in most cases, you're probably going to be shooting for 1 or 2 dB of compression here. So we'll get this meter here going. What I have here is the very famous setting on this SSL compressor where the attack is all the way slow and the release is all the way fast. And that's just a particular setting that I like, and it's a famous setting on this compressor. But what we're going to do is just dial in the threshold until we get about 1 or 2 dB of compression and see what that sounds like. All right, here we go. All right, guys, it's really as simple as that. Now, this is, again, a minor form of compression. You're not on your tube bus, you're not trying to get extreme amounts of compression unless, again, you're going for some sort of an effect where, you know, you may be trying to create this pumping effect or something with the music. But in the majority of cases, to control dynamics, this is all you're doing, just going for 1 or 2 dB of compression. Now, you have to pay a really close attention to hear that because, again, it's a small amount of compression. On louder rock mixes like this, I like to use a 4:1 ratio, but something on, you know, maybe quieter like a orchestration or some jazz or something like that, I'll use a 2:1 ratio. So I'll set this to 2:1. But this is pretty much what you're doing. So I'll A and B this and let you guys check it out. I'll start with it off. Here we go. All right, guys, so it's as simple as that. That is mixed bus compression in a nutshell. Now, again, as with any other method of, you know, mixing and EQing and compressing and all of that kind of stuff, this can get as complicated as you want it to be. You can turn this compressor into some sort of an effect. You can do a million things with it. But again, at the end of the day, this is basically how it's going to be used on your tube bus and most of your tracks too when you're using it for dynamic compression. Okay, guys, I hope you got something out of this video and you got a better understanding of tube bus compression or mixed bus compression, and you can apply these techniques to your mixes to get some better sounding mixes in your music. So listen, if you like this video and you've gotten something out of it, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have a lot more content on the channel already for mixing tips and mastering tips and things of that nature. And I'm going to be putting out a lot more videos soon. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. Let me know what you think about the video. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.